Hi, Catt here. This video is all about the pricing of my Trance Atlantic Glide collection, which is up on Alba, probably now already. This is a follow-up video to the one where I talked about the design, and while this is about the pricing, it's a little bit more than that, which I thought you might find interesting in a kind of nerdy market technology way and a people getting the edge on other people way. Kind of exciting. So here's a quick overview and then I'll explain. This is how my last few drops have gone, and this goes back quite a way. And what's interesting is that the start of this is measured in seconds and minutes, like real small windows of time. This graph here, however I choose to display it, shows the 6 stages of a Catt drop and the people in each stage, and I'll explain a bit more about this later. Quickly go through. Stage 1, the first 30 seconds. This is people buying my artwork from the website, and also people who set up tools specifically to watch the transaction that makes my project go live, i.e. people with alpha, where alpha means specific, almost inside knowledge. Stage 2, 30 seconds to about 2 minutes. So people who are running blockchain monitoring tools to spot unusual bursts of activities, who spotted the previous 30 seconds if that all sold out there. And they also provide information to the next group, which is stage 3. 2 minutes to 10 minutes, those are people running GUIs, graphical tools that are monitoring things on the blockchain, and then also getting pings from people in stage 2. These are often alpha groups, again, more on those later. Stage 4, which is 10 minutes to 2 hours, where public websites like the trending and top charts on the front page of places like OpenSea, which happens if like stage 1, 2 and 3 have just happens, they'll start like showing up on places like that. Then you get the self-proclaimed alpha callers on Twitter who disseminate this information they're saying here across to all their followers. Stage 5, the 24 hours of the unknown, which we'll come back to. Stage 6, the next 6 days and general return to the original mint price. Alright, so why all of this? I'll explain a little bit more in detail. Well, some people buy for the art that they like. They like to support me, they like me as an artist, they like what I do, so they buy my art. And without going down the whole rabbit hole, if you like my art, you can always just right click and save it without spending a single penny. NFTs are kind of awesome that way. Other people buy to flip and make a profit. Now, you don't make a huge profit, but if you do flipping enough times, you can come out ahead. For example, if you bought in stage 2 of our graph with your monitoring tools here, and then sell in stage 3, you double your money. If you sell in stage 4, you quadruple your money. Do that enough, like grinding online poker tables, you can make a profit, but only if you're fast enough and you have good enough data to act upon with speed, which most people don't have because that's really hard. Okay, so why me? Where do I fit in with all this? Well, a couple of things. And this is going to sound a little bit like humble bragging, but it's really not. I'm not one of those super big successful artists. I'm more your stable and steady, reliable types. Anyway, I guess I still am, an early art blocks artist. I've released 5 projects on art blocks, and only a handful of artists have done that, and I haven't put in for a curated project yet, so those were early art blocks factory stuff when it was still called factory, and each of those drops sold out pretty much instantly in like 1 or 2 blocks. The most recent one sold out in 2 blocks when the market was absolutely dead. When I released on FX Hash, the first project sold out, and then when I released the second project, there were all these bot networks watching my wallet for the transaction to make that project go live so they could buy into it, to the extent that after that drop I noticed that those bot networks were still watching my wallet, and I stealth dropped art for bots, which of course got instantly bought up by all those bots because they had the instruction to buy the stuff that I launched, which is what art for bots was obviously a comment on, but I won't go into that now. I mean, you can figure that out. Coming back to more recent times, this is what happened with my first and second Alba drop. So let's go back to the chart. Stage 1. 2 types of people. Those who, because of Twitter and who like my art, want to buy the artwork. So what happens for them is the project goes live, the website they're viewing it on updates, or a button turns on, they hit the button, they confirm all the details, they hit a few more buttons, and then they hopefully get one of their artworks. Meanwhile, because this is all on the blockchain, other people who know that my projects sell out, other people who predict that stage 2 and 3 are going to happen, have the tools that are directly watching the blockchain, and they send their buy transactions directly to the smart contract, and that is always going to beat out the people who are doing it by hand or on the website, or at least have a very huge advantage. And those people are enclosed alpha groups where I'm often earmarked as, oh, that's Dan, his work sells cheaply, you can probably double your money on that, and I'm somehow a safe bet for that. This, by the way, is not financial advice. For reasons I'll explain in just a moment, those cheap prices that cause that are going up. And that's all happening within 1 or 2 blocks, 15 to 30 seconds. That small amount of time that happens, and then everything is sold out. The people who wanted to actually buy my artwork, if they're lucky, they have the one. Those who wanted to flip may at this point choose to relist and try to sell it for double the price. That's what they're aiming for. Back to stage 2. Because there's a sudden burst of activity, like everything's selling out that quickly, that shows up on monitoring tools and people who are monitoring some of the bot networks that are doing the buying. They don't know what the bots are watching, but they can see them suddenly spring into action. They very quickly notice that basically shit has gone down. They're like, okay, clearly something's happened. I've got 30 seconds to decide what to do. I think the price is going to go up, or I'm just going to leave it and not worry about it. Those are often alpha groups who are technically savvy. They have the tools, but they don't know who I am. They've never come across me before, which is, fairly reasonable. Different alpha groups keep eyes on different people, but they have the tools to notice something happened. If these people buy, they're buying from people from stage 1, the closed alpha group who did keep an eye on me. So those people have just doubled their money. Job done. But some are still holding on, and some people who picked it up in stage 2 may turn around and relist because they're trying to flip, or maybe hold on just a little longer, moving us to stage 3, GUIs and pings. So as you can guess, GUIs, which are a graphical extra layer over the blockchain native tools, are, well, they're one more layer removed from what's going on because they're graphical but easier to use. But at 2 to 5 minutes, they're starting to catch up with what's happening. And also some of the people in the closed alpha groups are now pinging out to let other groups know, because they like sharing, but also they want to sell their flip, the thing that they've now got up for sale. If these stage 3 people buy now from the very first group of people who have quadrupled their money, the people in the second group who are selling it have doubled it, and things are still heating up at this point. We're at about 10 minutes in, and it starts to hit front pages on sites like OpenSea, like my last 2 alpha projects did. Now, most of these things in the charts are PFPs or utility tokens, often things that in theory unlock further access to, like maybe alpha groups or other drops, not actual art. Most people looking at these charts don't know who I am. They don't know I'm an artist, they don't understand the art and that it's just art, but they do know that it's running hot. Some of those people buy it, sort of doubling, quadrupling, octaling the profit for the people from stages 3, 2 and 1. Then they turn to Twitter in their role of alpha caller, going, hey, check this out in the chart. If you buy it now, i.e. the one I just bought and I'm selling, it's going to go to the moon. It's going to rocket all the way up. At this point, the people who bought my art for my art on the website right at the very start, all those minutes ago, are chatting in Discord, being chill, drinking cups of tea, being happy. The closed alpha groups from stage 1 and 2 are going, awesome. That was easy, we've doubled, quadrupled our money. Those whole stages who bought it have now sold, done, they're moved on, they're on to the next thing. Bye, won't see them again. After about 2 hours of all this Twitter alpha calling going on, we move into the 24 hours of uncertainty. This is playing chicken with the profits at this point. It could be that a big collector sees it, comes in and declares that this is the future of art. Something could happen at this point, or most likely the price starts to drop back down to mint price and I get DMs like this from the alpha callers. As a little aside, if I still got royalties from secondary sales, I may have an incentive to do this. But the flippers and the markets decided that artists don't deserve any royalties and then cut them out completely. And yet, I'm supposed to do a whole bunch of work for zero gain at this point. I mean, I'm not dropping my projects like hotcakes, and I continue to add context, and I'm building up the body of the work, and I talk about them. But come on, you remove the incentive for me to do all of that and then wonder why I don't do it. Anyway, that's a whole separate thing. Finally, the last stage, the return to mint price, or just above, or just under mint. Older projects of mine, like Art Blocks ones, tend to see slightly higher levels, but this is where people who wanted to buy right at the start, before the flippers got them, if they wait those 7 days, they can hopefully get one of the colour or the design at roughly mint price. And this is my repeated observation of what happens. It doesn't happen to all artists, but I'm in the pool of artists that this seems to traditionally happen to. And that, all of that, is why this project is 0.1 ETH for A couple of reasons. One, it just makes sense with the gas prices at the moment. If you're charging 0.02, then collectors are paying nearly the same, or if not more, in gas fees than for art, and people don't like doing that. The other reason is it's been easy, if not almost guaranteed, to be able to flip my work at the lower prices I've been doing if you're in like super early groups. And as much as I like being able to say, hey, I sold out in 1 or 2 blocks, it would be nice for the people who want to buy my artwork, who support me, to have a chance at buying it without all this flipping, and also for me to make some more of the money rather than the flippers. It's also a much smaller project, so instead of 256, it's only 52, and more importantly, it's on my birthday, so everybody can buy one as a nice birthday treat for me, because that would be lovely. Does this mean the project won't instantly sell out and then get flipped and double and quadruple in price? Yeah, I don't think it will. It's probably too risky for flippers. And if it's not too risky for flippers, I'm going to have to rethink things again. I think it might be a slow mint. It may never sell out, and I'm okay with that. But as one last thing, a lot of the flipping of NFTs came from the loot box mechanics of like 2022, where you could buy a mint, roll the dice, see if you got a super rare one. And if you did, you could instantly sell it for loads more. And if you didn't, you could just sell it back at the normal price that you bought it for. Imagine there's a lottery where there's only like 250 tickets. One of them wins you thousands of dollars, and if you don't win, you just get to sell the ticket for the price that you bought it for. I mean, who wouldn't enter that? But now collectors are going, oh wait, I don't want a random one. I want one that I know that I'll love. And we're seeing a move more towards collectors and artist curated work, which also changes the landscape of this flipping a lot. So I think my next few works are going to be more like those, and this is probably the last one of this type of long form I'll do for a while, although I may do one for each of my birthdays. Right, I think that is probably long enough, especially for a, hey, this is how much my drop cost video. So I've been Dan Catt, link below to the project, and the link to the other video about this drop where I talk about how lovely it looks is probably up there, and I will see you all soon. You're all lovely. Goodbye.